Alrighty everyone, what's up? Welcome at game number 2 between WhiteRa and Emperor. Here in the upper left position, we do have WhiteRa as the red Protoss, and in the bottom right here is Emperor as the pink Zerg. This time we're on Tal'Darim Altar. Yes, we are. This is a quite an awesome map. I really like this map, in all honesty. We can see this is going to be the version with those destructible rocks there at the third. Obviously, that's destructible rocks are there, and yeah, but it's just really awesome. You know, this really quick natural, really wide entrance to it. Really loving that wide ramp. 2 entrances to the natural here as well that you have to defend, or of course you could go for a wall off here. And actually, looks like WhiteRa is going to be doing that. WhiteRa going to be going for a forge fast expand. The strong indication of that, of course, being by this pylon placed right here. Going to be seeing a forge, some cannons, and some gateways right here at that frontal wall. Then that quick expansion over there as well. Almost going to fully expect Emperor to go with a quick expansion as well. Given the size of this map, it just the sheer macro focus behind a map this large, you almost always see players fast expand. You can see WhiteRa, of course, didn't even hesitate to go for that forge fast expand. It's just almost the obvious decision on a map this size. So again, as such, gonna fully expect Emperor to come out with like a 15 hatch, 16 hatch, something along those lines. Seems very, very likely, I'd have to say. But wow. Here's an extractor, so no, in fact, he is not going to be going for a quick expo. Instead, going to be trying to actually catch WhiteRa off guard by going for some quick speedlings. We can see that extractor being dropped first, then that spawning pool that's going to get that metabolic boost out. As soon as that spawning pool pops, going to have speedlings knocking out WhiteRa's front door very, very fast. Now, all WhiteRa really has to do is make sure he gets that wall up, get those cannons, and just, you know, if he finishes that wall off in time, he's going to be okay. In all honesty, he doesn't even need to fully finish a wall off. With 1 or 2 cannons back here, by the time Zerglings actually push through, he would have lost so many that Emperor wouldn't be able to do much damage at all. Now, WhiteRa is going to be fully aware of this right now. He has scouted out exactly what Emperor's got going on. He knows what the plan is. He knows what to expect. So, yeah, there you have it. He's scouted the early extractor. He knows that that spawning pool is just about finished. Seeing this Vespian gas being mined before that pool pops up pretty much indicates the fact that, hey, there's going to be enough for that metabolic boost pretty much right away. You can see right now, spawning pool pops. There is that metabolic boost, and going to be pulling some guys off of that extractor here. Now just sitting with the 1, and he's just going to keep that on there for now. But here come those speedlings, 4 on the way right now. WhiteRa, as mentioned prior, needs to get up this wall. He needs to get it nice and solidified here, finished off with that cannon in the background. If he can do that, he's going to be okay. But here comes the push right now, and wow, this is going to be very, very interesting to see how effective Emperor is going to be with this. Now, at the same time, he is, of course, going to be dropping his Expo. We have a drone transferring on down right now. Expo is going to get dropped, but those speedlings could very well push out and do a bit of damage, at the very least, cause a lot of agony for WhiteRa and the amount of harassment he's going to do. Now, something to note here, Emperor actually still hasn't scouted WhiteRa's base. This is the first time he's moving out with the scout. He does have that Overlord scout over here. One Zergling pushing over here, so it's not going to be until just right now that he sees his expansion. But as you can see, that wall off for WhiteRa still not yet completed, allowing that Zergling to pull on in. Now the problem is for Emperor, he's not going to be able to do much with this at this point. This Zergling's not really enough to do much damage whatsoever, so he's just going to be scouting, just going to be moving around. He can stay in the base for quite some time. That is a good thing, I would have to say. But in terms of damage-wise, he's not going to be able to do a lot. We'd have one probe actually trying to chase down the Zergling. Emperor going to be fleeing with that at the time. Do we have any more Zerglings coming for some additional push work? No, we do not. The wall off is complete right now. Zerglings cannot make it in, unfortunately, so Emperor is just going to be forced to dance around with this one Zergling for now and just try to harass a little bit, but does need to be careful of that surround. That is, of course, the last thing that you need. Still, the probe scout here dancing around for a WhiteRa. That is spotted, though, so no proxy pylons for you, Mr. WhiteRa, because Emperor will be fully aware of that. There's a creep spread. Of course, want to connect these 2 bases. I want to be able to reinforce this very quickly if he does get a push from against WhiteRa. WhiteRa coming out with the Stargate here, so going to be seeing some air harass, and actually incredibly surprised as to this placement here for WhiteRa. Really surprised he's putting it at the front wall, solely because of the fact that a quick Zergling scout is going to spot this and let Emperor know exactly what's going on. Now, we do have the Overlord scout moving on through for Emperor. That's going to be sacrificed later down the road, probably a few minutes from now. And we have a layer coming on through here as well. Layer at the Expo, going to make that more durable, allow him to defend it much more easily. And if any early aggression comes from WhiteRa, which actually not going to expect anymore, simply because we have double Stargate. So, wow, going to be pumping out some of these area units. Let's take a look at what it's going to be. Void Rays and or Phoenixes. Which one are we going to be choosing today, WhiteRa? What is your weapon of choice? You should come out with something at some point eventually. There it is. Gonna be seeing some Void Ray play here from WhiteRa. Very large map for Void Rays. I almost expected Phoenixes, in all honesty, given the size of the map, just because the length of time it takes with Void Rays to actually clear across the map. But still, of course, the damage is going to be effective. Nevertheless, the amount of harassment you can do effective. Nevertheless, it's going to take them quite some time before they actually push an Emperor's base. And the reason I mention that is because it's going to give Emperor ample scouting time. And if he scouts it in time, well, then he can just get some anti-air. But we're going to have to just wait and see as to exactly how Emperor responds. We can see that Spire coming on through. Looks like he's not going to be going Roach Hydra this game, at the very least, not initially. So over here comes that Overlord Scout. There's that sacrifice. Like I mentioned, about a minute after the point that we last looked at it. Zergling Scout still pushing out the front. Has he spotted that yet? No, he hasn't moved in. Doesn't want to move into cannon range just to sacrifice himself. Just going to be chilling out to see when a ground push does come. First Void Ray is out. Second Void Ray making its way on through as well. We do have level 1 upgrades coming for those air units. So very looking to be very focused here on these Void Rays. Going to be trying to do as much damage as possible and cranking out that production. No additional gateways been dropped yet, just going to be sticking with his Void Ray harass. So wow, very interesting decision here by WhiteRa. Could be quite effective. Now again, keep in mind the Spire is coming up, so anti-air gonna come into play. If Corruptors hit the board, that could be quite problematic for WhiteRa. I would have to say that definitely is something that is a little bit concerning right now. It's all going to come down to what Emperor ends up scouting. He hasn't spotted those yet. He still has no idea. He's moving into the main here and basically seeing absolutely nothing. So unfortunately, this Sacrificial Overlord isn't getting a whole lot done. WhiteRa not even going to bother pushing out with these Void Rays. He doesn't want to move them in to spot and to take out that Overlord because he doesn't want to let Emperor know that there are Void Rays in play. He just doesn't want him to be aware of that fact. So 7 mutas coming on out right now for Emperor. Emperor is going to be looking to move into his third as well, knocking down these destructible rocks. Once those mutas comes into play, he's of course going to be able to snipe down these Void Rays, but these Void Rays looking very beefy right now. Level 1 upgrade, and here comes that big, strong push right now, and those Void Rays should actually have no problem against this number of mutas. It's not going to be until Emperor gets a few more mutas that he's going to be able to properly deal with this. Did he spot that coming through? I think he caught a glimpse of that when those Void Rays crossed right across, so now he is aware. Going to want to be grouping up his mutas, needs to push at one big time. Now we're going to see WhiteRa charge up these Void Rays. Can't get a full charge yet. Here come the mutas right now, moving down to engage, and look at them tearing through one Void Ray at a time. The splash damage coming into effect because these Void Rays are a little bit clumped up. The Void Rays doing so much damage though because of that upgrade and working down these mutas. Only one more muta coming back to reinforce, and these Void Rays again still doing a lot of damage. But are we going to see a transition from WhiteRa, or is he going to keep this up? Pulling back with that Void Ray just in time, and these last two Void Rays very low health. Going to want to pull back right now, starting to make a Phoenix transition as well. We do have one muta coming into play. Are there any more mutas on the board? No, so just the one right now. So yeah, wow, pretty interesting. Pushing out with those Void Rays didn't end up doing much damage at all. And in all honesty, all he really did was kill off the mutas. That was pretty much it. That is all that happened. But I think overall that was actually a better trade for WhiteRa. Let's take a look. Yes, it was. Most certainly, you can take a look at the large amount of resources lost there for Emperor. Sorry for that cough. Also, of course, those Void Rays going to do a really nice job of maintaining map control against those Zerglings. Zerglings are forced, of course, to run away. Void Rays knocking down these rocks very quickly. So going to be seeing a third here from WhiteRa. Now let's take a look. What are we going to see for a response here from Emperor? Is he going to be coming out with these Hydras? We have another hatchery coming up. There is that Hydra den, and yes, Hydras are what we're going to be seeing. Hydras very strong against the Void Rays. We are seeing a Phoenix transition. Also, another 4 gateways being dropped right now for WhiteRa. So going to be transitioning, of course, into some ground units. You would not expect him to go for this air fleet forever. Zergling's trying to push on down. These Void Rays going to start to work on them, but is he going to force the cancellation? This would actually be really bad. And yes, he does. WhiteRa forced to cancel that expo. Going to be dropping it once more. Also, going to be dropping out some cannons to deal with any possible future harassment like that in the future. Taking a look over here, we are seeing an infestation pit come out right now for Emperor. There's that other in-base hatch, and here's that Expo coming up as well. Emperor, though, needs to get up another base. He knows that WhiteRa is going for this third, and he wants to be on more than just these 3. Just the 3 mining bases will be okay with this extra in-base hatch, given the fact that he will have that extra larva for that quick reinforcement, but he does want those extra resources from that extra base, so they need to get this up and running soon, and maybe even consider moving out to a 4th. The real big problem here on this map, though, is defending a 4th becomes a little bit difficult. Moving over here, you can defend this with mutas pretty easily, but those ground forces take some time to wrap all the way around. Looks like we are seeing one muta push out for some scouting. Taking a look over here for WhiteRa, we are seeing a big, strong push. Lots of Void Rays, a couple of gateway units. Those Phoenixes, of course, can be very effective lifting off any of those threatening units. Also, those Phoenixes incredibly strong against any possible mutas that may be in play. As we know, though, Emperor not sitting with a lot of mutas right now. He has made that transition into Hydras, but still WhiteRa wasn't certain of that, so getting those Phoenixes is going to be a good idea. Going to be able to snipe off some Overlords with them as well quite easily. And yeah, here comes a very strong push. WhiteRa dropping a proxy pylon. A few more units going to be moving on down, defending this expansion solely with cannons. Looks like WhiteRa is moving to get that saturated right now as well. And seeing a whole couple probes moving out all over the place just to drop proxy pylons or doing some scouting or something. One Overlord scout moving over here, and here comes a harass right now. Big strong push coming from WhiteRa. Lots of Hydras again, very, very threatening to those air units. Very threatening to those Phoenixes, very threatening to those Void Rays. They just absolutely tear through them. Very strong against these gateway units as well. But WhiteRa looking to have quite a bit. 72 army supplies as opposed to the 56. We do have this one proxy pylon for those quick reinforcements. We'd like to see one a little bit closer over here as well. Here comes that probe to drop another proxy pylon. But here it comes right now. We're going to be seeing some fungal growths go down. There it is, right on top of those Void Rays, allowing those Hydras to pick them down very quickly. Phoenix is moving down. Graviton Beam, very strong. Void Rays going to be able to pick those off, no problem. No response from those Hydras that are lifted off. Zergling's pushing forward, but there are too many Stalkers right now, and WhiteRa, having the superior force, is going to be able to continue to push through this. Those Graviton Beams coming into play again. Some more Stalkers being reinforced. We got 16 Zerglings coming out. Not going to be enough, though. There is the GG from Emperor. We saw WhiteRa open up this game with a Forge Fast expand. Now, Emperor scouting that with his Zergling was actually able to pull in before WhiteRa had that full wall off or that cannon warped in. Now, even though he's in the base, he wasn't able to do much damage because it was just one Zergling, but still, Emperor was able to get a full scout of everything that WhiteRa had going on. Emperor himself opted for starting off with some one-base play, getting the metabolic boost very fast, and then moving on into his expo. That, of course, gave him that scouting Zergling, as well as allowed him to defend himself and stop any sort of harassment or pylon placement from stopping his expansion from going down. From that Forge Fast expand, WhiteRa transitioned into Void Rays. He went with a strong Void Ray push, but unfortunately for WhiteRa, at the exact same time, Emperor went with early game mutas. They basically nullified each other, the mutas and the Void Rays taking each other out one by one. Also, we had this Queen come into play. So unfortunately for both players, their initial early push, or their initial plan for an early game push, pretty much did nothing. They basically, again, just canceled out each other's units. You can see here WhiteRa is going to be forced to push back with some more mutas coming into play, as well as that Queen. After that failed push, WhiteRa did move out to his third expansion, and at the exact same time, we had Emperor moving for his third expansion as well. We then saw WhiteRa push out around 14 minutes with some Void Rays, Phoenixes, and a mix of gateway units. Now, in dealing with that early game harass, Emperor did end up going very Hydra heavy just to deal with any possible future Void Rays. Also coming out with these nice infestors over here. We're going to see what happens in this engagement, though. Very unfortunately for Emperor, he gets his infestors sniped down after only dropping about one fungal growth. WhiteRa, just with continuous reinforcements, was able to basically keep pounding at that front door, and it was a bit too much for him to handle. Also, some very nice Graviton Beams. So just going to fasten this up right here, and here it comes. So here is the fungal growth going down, but unfortunately then getting those infestors sniped down. That was a very bad situation. The Graviton Beam from these Phoenixes canceling out any of these Hydras right here, basically making it so they can't do anything whatsoever. And then after that one, we get some more Graviton Beams, and those two things together, plus getting those infestors sniped down, is what made Emperor lose the game. So there you go, guys. Game number 2 between WhiteRa and Emperor in this best of 3 series. Going to be moving on to game number 3 in just one moment. As always, if you like the content, please do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Keep watching and keep owning.